so much for being here, and amazing film that you put together. Yourself and John. We had an initial chat with John. Also, I'd like to welcome Jay, who will be joining us as well. Jay Manari is the festival director for MiraBan, this amazing festival that he's put together. So all together, what I'd like to say, I guess my first question would be, when we're looking at the lens of obviously these individuals overcoming their adversity, when we were speaking with John, he was kind of going through his own personal experience and what some of the takeaways that he's learned, because a lot of the members on your team actually went through those experiences that the main characters went through. So when we're looking at, when I was speaking with John, he was saying, he learned about, overcoming adversity. Triumph over adversity is a really big portion of the film. I guess for you personally, what kind of takeaways did you have being on the film and interacting with these individuals? Were there any takeaways that helped improve your life and kind of add additional confidence and insights for your own personal well-being?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, this is the first time I've kind of worked with military personnel, and certainly people who, for instance, Dave was in a wheelchair. He felt really bad because I felt like we were throwing him out of the wheelchair every 2 minutes, but he was in a lot of pain, and he never complained. The kind of work ethic was really unbelievable, to be honest. And as much as it was a beast for me, it really kind of put in perspective that actually these guys are working a lot harder than I am, and maybe I should keep my opinions to myself, when you have challenges and things like that on set. But it was the same with the crew. Alex, he bless him, he just jumped on board. He was kind of doing a lot of running for us, did some stunts as well. He was in the sea. We were at Flamborough Bay at 3 o'clock in the morning to film Dave wheeling in on his wheelchair. And at the end of it, and this happened every day that we filmed with him, he would really suffer from his headaches, and he'd kind of totally wipe him out, but he was there every morning ready, and it just kind of, nothing but respect to those guys. What an absolutely fabulous team, just total respect really. It puts it all in perspective,
Definitely. Well, I'll hand it over to Jay if he has any questions.
Thank you. Well, I really want to say it's a touching story, and me and Michael were talking, I'm crying again. It's it really was a strong piece. How, guys, did you manage to find all this wonderful team that has this diversity element in common, and how long did it take to actually produce the whole film?
So John who directed it, kind of already got his team together, and it was all, John's legacy of, he does a lot for charity, a lot for disablement, a lot for ex-military personnel. He's kind of in all of that stuff, and I think part of it was just a pure chance, but a lot of it was kind of John. John approaches those guys and wants them to be involved, and believes that it's whatever your personal struggles are, it doesn't matter. We're here to make a film, and if we have to make it a bit slowly, that's absolutely fine, whatever it is. And so I think he wanted a lot of those guys there for their opinion. Obviously, for Don and Dave, I believe one of the early discussions was, because it's a totally true story, and obviously they play themselves, and I think John was only interested if it could be their story told by them in a genuine kind of way. In terms of the actual production of it, we shot over 9 days, so it was fairly straightforward. And then the team themselves, I think John had been in regular communication with a lot of those guys kind of before I kind of came on board. It was kind of a core team, and it was absolutely wonderful, and just a total pleasure with that.
Cinematography-wise, since you are the cinematographer of this one, I've seen, obviously some of the inspiration, like gladiator elements. How did John convey that to you? What was his reference, and how did that turn into feature?
Well, that's a really good question. So John, we didn't have a storyboard or anything like that. I was brought in quite late into the process, and John sent over, I think, 5 images. One of them was the gym scene in Bad Boys, that kind of thing, and then just a bunch of other things, and the rest of it was really quite interpretive, I found. So a lot of it, it was we had that little time and that much to do. A lot of it was just totally reactionary, I would say. For instance, the rugby scene, which is kind of, it's kind of, well, not lit, in a way, it's kind of super moody. originally that was all planned to be a super well-lit kind of thing, and you know, the whole thing had been lit up, and then the power didn't work on the day, and so it's like, well, okay, right, how many batches have we got? You know, let's do what we can with it. But then by the same token, later that day, just by pure chance, there was a hole in the corner of the bunker that our team had rigged a bit of kind of cloth in front of our, you know, like foam, like an 8x4 foam sheet, just to kind of block out the sun. And we were just backing down for the day, and the thing fell off, and this beautiful beam of sunlight kind of shot through. And it was like, oh, good Lord, like, grab a camera, you know, get the guys back, and that opens the scene now where Dave's kind of putting on his gloves, and it's that, like, infinite shaft of light. So I would take very little credit. I would say a lot of it was reactionary and kind of just trying to, as quickly as possible, get some stuff ready, you know, because it was, you know, those guys weren't actors, and we knew that we needed as much time as possible to kind of get the performance, you know, that we needed out of them, and they delivered it, you know, and they did it. So yeah, reactionary. If I could sum it up in one word, would be.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'll hand it over to Michael.
Yeah. Just a final question. Obviously, like the music side, John put that together. I don't know how John was able. I mean, it's exceptional, especially. Yeah, and hearing it on, you know, with the surround sound was amazing. I was curious, how did you, I guess you worked very closely with John, obviously, for looking at photography, the cinematography. What kind of strategies or techniques did you use to kind of blend the two together? Because I found like they were integrated very well in the film. Like they definitely meshed well together. So yeah, I'm curious to kind of maybe walk us through what that looked like, kind of blending the music with the visuals.
Sure. So a few scenes are super rhythmic. For instance, the rugby scene, that was a click track. So we knew we kind of wanted a piece of music and all the impacts to be on beats. So that was just click tracked out. We used a temp piece of music to kind of just fill in some kind of gaps as we were editing away. And then a lot of it really was John just kind of going away and saying, I've written this thing, and okay, yeah, that's it, that'll do it. You know, all the opening kind of sequence, that had no music at all, and I remember thinking, this is a complicated sequence, and John just came in one day and said, I've wrote this. And he has a buddy who programmed a lot of it, and then I believe the Uilleann pipe player from Dream Theatre jumped in, I forget his name, jumped in to do the opening kind of musical motif, let's say. But yeah, a lot of it would just be John would disappear on a piano for half an hour and then come back in and say, this is kind of the melody of it. You know, he set himself an impossible task, because we used quite a lot of James Horner tunes as well, and it was kind of like, oh Jesus, how is this gonna compare? But yeah, John, that's his bag, I suppose, in a way. So yeah, I don't know to answer the question.
Yeah, no, it's a great answer. I mean, yeah, thanks for walking us through that. Does anyone have any questions from the audience? Yeah.
Do we know which conflict Dave's studying?
So, Dave, it was actually a training mission, I believe, and what happened was, I don't know where it was, but there's a technical term for it, where the parachute partially opens but twists on itself. So they were on a training mission, and he actually hit the ground, and I believe got up and walked himself off, and then kind of then the pain kicked in, and kind of all went south from there. He doesn't, you know, I don't. We maybe my one wish for the film is that we maybe could have shown a little bit more of that. Like, you know, there's a scene where he stood up, and I don't think we quite captured the difficulty he had in doing that. You know, he was in a lot of pain throughout it, but didn't complain and just came in and did it. But yes, I forget the technical term, but it was a training mission. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Any other questions? Yeah.
As a DP, what sort of thing you have on set that you feel invaluable to producing? What was the findings?
I would say with this, a good crew. We didn't have any kind of technical measuring equipment or anything like that. Just people who we could, you know, quickly kind of. Some of the scenes we were prepared for, we knew what we would get, and we drew some sketches and things like that. But really, just the ability to, it was Alex 99% of the time, just say, look man, this is what I think, this is where I think things should be. let's just go for it. And more often than not, kind of the first or second iteration of whatever we set up was what we had to go with. What really helped was, I don't know if you class it as a tool, but kind of visiting the site beforehand. We went down for a day and just to look at the hangar and just kind of go, all right, we need some bigger lights, which ended up never being able to be used because we lost power on the day. So yeah, it was kind of a unwieldy beast in some kind of senses, but just a good crew, a really good crew of people we could trust, you know.
And then a bit so what camera lenses?
So it was all Blackmagic stuff. We used the Blackmagic 12K as a bit of an insurance policy, you know, just because we knew it'd be quick, and obviously that allows for a lot of reframing. The lenses, 99% of the time, were CP2 lenses, which look lovely but are a total pain. I don't know if you're familiar with the lens, but they're photography lenses, and so to focus, you're kind of constantly winding them. So yeah, the whole thing was kind of a beast, but yeah, Blackmagic for all of it.
Awesome. Well, with that, I think we'll conclude. Oh yeah, go for it.
Hi, Bobby right here. Bro, I just want to really commend y'all for what y'all accomplished, because as somebody who has worked with a lot of veterans, I would say, you guys really showed them a very positive light of what they go through.
Oh, bless you, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for that, Bobby. Awesome. All right. Well, with that, I think we'll conclude the Q&A. Thanks so much, Luke, for all your answers. Really appreciate it. Round of applause.